Thank you for tuning in to Nevada Justice. We are Parker Shear Lagomarsino. Born and raised in Las Vegas and with over 15 years of legal experience, attorney Andre Lagomarsino has served as counsel in a wide variety of cases. Along with attorneys Daniel M. Ryan and Elizabeth Crommelin, they make up the law firm of Parker Shear Lagomarsino. The information you obtain from the show is not, nor is it intended to be legal advice. You should consult an attorney for advice regarding your individual situation. We invite you to contact us at 702-731-1230 and welcome your calls. Contacting us does not create an attorney-client relationship. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nevada Justice.
Yeehaw. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nevada Justice. Today, Friday, December 5th, 2014. A little mist shrouding the city of Las Vegas here as we start this week's episode of Nevada Justice.
This is one of the first times I've had to use my windshield wipers and it's not raining.
I know. I can't believe it's already December.
I know, right?
That happened fast.
It did. Do you believe it's December, Denise?
I do. Only because the calendar tells me so.
Oh. Today is a special day for Nevada Justice. We have Denise Valdivia here with us as a special guest, as well as Max Lardent, Rebecca Reyes,
and Andre Lagomarsino.
That's right. Hello, everyone.
I've argued in front of every judge in the state, often as a lawyer.
Lawrence, our sound man extraordinaire.
We love Lawrence.
Engineer. Today we have a lot of topics on Nevada Justice that we're going to talk about. Of course, we're going to start off with a very in-depth, excruciating interview of Denise, who is a paralegal at Parker Shear Lagomarsino, among many other talents that she has. We're also going to talk today, the topic is settlements. Sometimes we call it jackpot justice in the law.
There you go.
And today we're going to talk about settlements. How does a settlement occur? Some things that occur in settlements, such as arbitration, appeals, mediation, caps, the EEOC, all that fun stuff.
All stuff I'm aware of.
Yes. You've learned a lot,
Yes.
Max.
I'm a lawyer. Not a lawyer.
He's not a lawyer, but
I wanted to say I'm a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
I'll tell you what, Max, we are so grateful to have you here. You are just bring us like a ray of sunshine into our show.
Yeah.
Breath of fresh air.
Yes, it's amazing.
It's a good thing I'm made of sunshine and fresh air.
We have a quiz. We're going to talk a little bit of sexual discrimination, a little medical malpractice, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
A potpourri of episodes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So, welcome to Nevada Justice.
Yep, and whether you are shooting for the stars, reaching for the moon, or just completely in outer space with how much money you want for your case, every case is different and depends on many different factors. So before we start talking about how much certain cases are worth, we are going to interview Miss Denise. Denise Valdivia is a paralegal at Parker Shear Lagomarsino. Miss Valdivia has been with the firm for about 4 years. As a paralegal, Denise works alongside attorneys from the commencement through the pre- and post-litigation stages of cases. She is also responsible for drafting pleadings, discovery, and correspondence. Ms. Valdivia helps with the office administration and works closely with other firm members on spotlight projects and preparation. And she also takes care of our company calendar, which is very important.
That is important.
It helps everyone believe what month it is.
There you go.
Exactly.
Thankfully.
So my first question to you, Denise, is what made you become a paralegal? Why did you decide to become a paralegal?
That's a tough one. Well, before I started working here, I was working for a credit union, which is completely different from working as a paralegal. I came to Andre, and I was a runner, which was pretty, it wasn't that exciting, but it still made the day go by fast, so it was okay. But once I made it past, I guess you could say, a probationary period, they started giving me more tasks like, hey, send this letter, hey, help us file, like different things that made me say, oh, maybe I do want this type of job. It seems like it has to do with a lot of organization.
Your OCD.
Which I love to do. So once I got more into it and started learning more about the law, and a lot of the other girls, Stephanie showed me the way. She was my teacher.
We love Stephanie.
And my mentor.
Yeah.
She really showed me how much stuff that we can do for people just by filling out paperwork. It's crazy what you can really do for somebody.
Paperwork's hard.
It is.
You'd be surprised. And we all know that you are super organized. If the calendar is 15 minutes off, Denise will let you know. Denise, can you describe what a typical workday is at Parker Shear Lagomarsino?
Okay, so I come in, I
Well,
share.
wait a second here.
Oh, God.
What time do you come in?
It depends. I'm scheduled for 8:30. I'm usually there around 8.
Why so early? Why do you get there so early?
So that I can get my work done on time.
No problems. We are very happy to have you there.
And how wonderful is it when you can do your work with an empty office?
Oh, it's so nice. When there's nobody in the office, it's nice and quiet, and I can blast my music.
Yeah. 80s presently is what she's been
Yes.
playing. I know, because I share an office with her.
Yes. Our little cubby hole is full of scented candles and indie music.
Yes, definitely.
Ew, what?
I know it's really not, Max. I mean, can you believe this stuff is going on in the law office? I can't even understand why.
No, I'm not
Denise
a lawyer.
and Rebecca. I mean, there's mini me little dolls running around. They have scented candles. It smells like they're mutually ordering pumpkin spice latte Keurigs.
I mean, when you
Is there any law going on back there?
There's a lot
Is
of
there
there
injustice? Is there?
Uh,
I don't know.
In between the giggling, there's a lot of law going on.
Yeah.
You know what? One thing that I think Rebecca and I pride ourselves on is that as much as we mess around and talk, because we are both half Cuban and Mexican,
Oh,
we
God,
can
yeah.
talk very loudly.
Mm.
We get our work plus some done.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I hear them talking, but sometimes I hear a little. What's going on over there? What's going on?
And Dre's
Yeah.
office is very close to
Yes.
ours, so
It's loud enough that you can hear whisper. They're
Yeah, we're not very good at whispering
It's a-
sometimes.
half
No.
Cuban Mexican whisper.
yeah.
Exactly. Together we make a full Cuban and a full Mexican.
There you go.
Okay, well then, I guess it kind of changes what I said.
Kinda. Denise, what's the hardest part about being a paralegal?
Well, I want to ask her.
Oh, goodness.
Why a law office? Don't squeal. Don't squiggle out of that little question of why did you, go into being a paralegal? Why did you become a paralegal? Why the law?
Once I really started learning about it, it was very interesting to me, and it's just exciting to see people argue. And that out of that argument could actually come something good for somebody, not just me arguing at home with my now husband.
That's for sure.
Constructive arguing.
Exactly.
So what's the hardest part then?
Oh, deadlines.
Mm.
I'm not an attorney, but the deadlines still give me as much headaches as cold sweats as anybody.
Anxiety for
Yes.
sure.
You can put 5 million reminders on a calendar, but once that deadline comes, it needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. And you're relying on, more than just yourself too for the deadlines.
Exactly.
So that's a factor too.
Now, before working at Parker Shear, you were a bank manager. Is that right, or an assistant manager?
Correct.
And tell me the difference between a typical day of a paralegal and a bank assistant manager.
A bank assistant manager, I did the exact same thing every single day. It became very exhausting because you would come in opening procedures. Then you have your normal day, closing procedures. It just got very repetitive and boring. As a paralegal, I feel like I learn something new every day. Even if we've done the same thing in a different case, it's still so different from the first one that it just makes it more exciting, and it makes you want to, keep learning and do more with the job.
Yeah. Like the procedure's the same, but the details are...
Yeah, every case is so different. There's never two cases that are exactly the same.
Now, don't lie. Does the day go by faster as a paralegal? Does it go by slower?
Oh, way faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the bank, there was certain times, like let's say 10 to 11, nobody at all in the branch. And then 11 to 1, when it's lunchtime, jam-packed. And then it would just go to nothing again. And then you're just like, oh, it's only 3:30. I just looked at the clock 5 minutes ago. Like, it's still 3:30.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Now, we heard about what is the hardest part, the deadlines, but what duties or aspect of your job do you find the most exciting? What do you enjoy doing the most?
organizing the file.
You enjoy that?
It's extremely nerdy of me, but I love someone handing me a mess and being able to organize it and make it look nice. And then you can, take your notes while you're organizing it. And it's just nice for someone to hand you all these facts and all this paperwork and to be able to organize it into one pretty demand or one pretty complaint, anything like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Denise has advanced to, she mentioned she started as a runner, and at Parker Shear, we start people in entry-level positions, and then it's kind of a training on the job thing. We'll slowly give you a letter, slowly give you a project, even if it's just, like you said, filling out a form. But sometimes it's the ability just to complete a project and get it done that shows the ability to learn more. And currently, Denise is working on a couple of very big cases. She's probably progressed into the level of employment law, sexual harassment, sexual discrimination, which I think is your first foray into this area.
That was very scary to take those on.
Yeah. Well, what we do is we typically we call it front-loading the case at Parker Shear. And so what Denise does is she'll interview witnesses, she'll draft affidavits, and then she has to put that all together, put that little mess into a very nice demand letter, help in drafting a complaint. So you've come a long way. How long have you been a paralegal?
Technically or literally?
Well, how about both?
We'll say 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years. Well, I think what Denise is alluding to is she started with us at Parker Shear, and then she had an opportunity, and she was going to make some more money working at the bank. And I remember she came into the office and said, "I am out of here, boss man." She was like, "I am gonzo. 2 weeks notice? How about 2 minutes? Peace out."
And then all the girls hated me because
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell them I was leaving.
No, she laughed. And then,
She came back.
yeah, but then
Yes.
So talk to us. I mean, you left an employer. People were crying when you left, and then how did you feel about coming back? How did that come up? How did that whole situation even conjure itself up?
The day that Andre Lagomarsino texts me, "Would you like to come back?" was the happiest day of my life.
Oh, stop it.
No, seriously, because I had gone back to the bank, obviously for, we'll say, financial reasons. But once I was back there, it was just not that exciting. I was like, this is the reason I left in the first place. So out of the blue, Andre texts me, "Do you want to come back?" And I said yes. And my current boss at the time was my very good friend. So it was a little hard to tell him that I was leaving to go back to my former boss. But once I was back, I know Stephanie said that she was begging for me to come back, which made me feel really good about myself. So it was exciting to be back.
She was your advocate. I mean, I think one thing that happens at our law offices, especially with a lot of the paralegals and the professionals that are not attorneys, who actually tend to probably be more professional than some of us attorneys at times. But we start you with zero experience, and then we train you little by little, and we teach you how we want things done. And then generally what happens is they end up training us and saying, get your stuff together, Andre. There's some stuff on your desk you need to review like right now. So we get it.
Denise, if you weren't a paralegal, what would you be doing?
Well,
Would it be bank manager?
if I got stuck there, it probably would be bank manager. But when I was in high school, I actually really wanted to be a veterinary technician. I volunteered with our family veterinarian for about 2 to 3 months on Saturdays, and I realized that it just wasn't for me.
Why?
It was really sad.
Oh.
No one realizes it.
No, there's a love you have for your own pets, and then there's still a love you have for someone else's pets.
Definitely.
And even them just coming in and get put to sleep for a teeth cleaning would make me cry. So I'm like, this isn't for me. Every now and then I still think about, what if I was working with animals, but then I know it's better to not because I would just be crying all day long.
Just keep your own. That's
Exactly.
all. Now, I know you recently got married.
Yes.
Tell me, what is the best thing about married life and what is the worst thing about married life?
The best thing is that it's legal now. We've been together for almost 8 years, so it's just, a name on a paper, but now I can call myself Mrs. Valdivia.
And the worst part?
Oh, gosh. I was actually just talking about this. My husband says that we have to compromise on everything, even though he knows I'm still the boss.
And I hope he's listening right
Yes.
now. Denise, tell us about your children, Milo and Casper.
Oh, goodness. Casper is my old man. He's only 5. He's a toy poodle, but he's a little overweight, but I still love him. He's great to cuddle with. He's not really of a play kind of dog. He just likes to chill. Milo, on the other hand,
Your special needs kid.
he just turned a year old, so he is insane. He's also a toy poodle. Like I mentioned on the way over here, last night he got home, didn't realize I was home. He got very excited, went down the stairs, tumbled down the last 10 steps into the wall, and got up and was still licking my face. He's a hoot, that one.
Here at Parker Shear Lagomarsino, we love our pets. I think
And frequently have dog days.
oh my god, yes. I think we talk about dogs all day, every day. I'm sure Dre is tired of hearing
And
it
so
by
are
now.
Justin and Danny.
Yeah.
Especially Justin, who hates animals, period.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't have any pets?
No, I don't work at Parker Shear Lagomarsino.
Oh, but you have a
But
pet.
you have pets.
No,
Oh,
See?
Max. We gotta get Max a pet.
no, I don't have time for one.
You can get a goldfish. That's a pet, right?
No, you can't pet a pet.
Denise, what do you like to do during your free time?
Absolutely nothing. I like to sit at home on my couch with my dogs and watch Food Network.
Denise is obsessed with watching Food Network.
My TV never is on another channel but the Food Network or the cooking channel.
And
And
what
I don't even cook that much. It's the weird thing. I try to.
Which
I don't
one's
know.
better?
I think Food Network, Denise.
I like Cooking Channel. Just because their competition shows, they're more. I don't know. I feel like
Competition.
the ones on the Food Network are so cheesy sometimes.
Yeah,
At least the Cooking Channel ones are like. The other day they had Dr. Seuss cakes. Those things were amazing.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I had a question for you. I know that you're very, very close with your family, and I would like to know what role or how does your family affect how you act as a professional? What do you get from your mom? What do you get from your dad? You know,
What a deep
kind of-
question
I know.
Yeah.
compared to Rebecca's fluff questions.
I wasn't ready for
I
that.
like dogs, okay?
For my mom is definitely my organization.
Yeah.
She's crazy organized. I can tell you a story from when I was a kid. I was terrified of my mom. We would get in fights constantly. She would make me write sentences and then rip up the paper if my handwriting was not good
Interesting.
and make me write them again. So from her is definitely my organization. I would say from a leadership perspective is my dad. He was a supervisor at the Hilton. Well, it's not the Hilton anymore, but he's always been a strong leader in my life. I was always kind of scared of him too when I was little, but he's really loving. He's turned into a softie with his
Oh, yeah,
age.
he has.
Oh, yeah.
How often do you get to see your family?
I see my parents at least, I would say, once a week. My sister lives on the other side of the world compared to me, so I hardly ever see her, but we text a lot. My cousin Yvette, she's like my second sister. We're only a month apart, so I text her a lot too. And now she has my little godson, Junior, so I try to see them as often as I can, but she lives really far too.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much, Denise. You're going to stay for the rest of the show and chime in and help us out, but we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to let you know what your case is worth. Here in the Las Vegas Valley, Parker Shear Lagomarsino is dedicated to giving each of our law firm's clients the individual attention they each deserve. Parker Shear Lagomarsino handles a wide variety of cases for individuals and businesses. The firm prides itself on providing ethical representation and strong advocacy in and out of court. Our team of experienced lawyers and paralegals work hard daily to ensure the firm's clients get the best possible results. Clients can reach the firm at 702-383-2864, 702-383-2864, or at radio at Parker Shear, ParkerScheer.com. Welcome back to Nevada Justice, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
You like this song, Max?
I'm grooving.
Now, at Parker Berkshire Lagomarsino, we deal with a variety of cases, and every case varies as far as what it's worth. So we have a few real settlements to disclose with you. Let's start with an auto accident, shall we?
Yeah, I think one thing that we get in the industry is we get something called a trial reporter, and the following settlements these are not Parker share settlements. These are settlements that we've seen in a magazine, basically, that will put out what these damages are, and they give you some information. So let's comment on these things.
Of course. There was a case being tried on the defendant's appeal of plaintiff's arbitration award of $6,382. The case was also being tried as a short trial. The plaintiff, a 28-year-old female, alleged she was rear-ended by the defendant. The female defendant admitted negligence but argued causation. The plaintiff alleged she sustained cervical soft tissue injuries, which required 3 months of treatment. The defendant argued that on the weekend following the accident, the plaintiff went rock climbing and posted pictures on Facebook. The defendant also argued other activities posted on Facebook shortly after the accident, including shooting, horseback riding, fishing, and other activities with friends. It was a one-day trial, and the jury decided to award the plaintiff $6,312.83, even with the Facebook pictures.
So Max, let me ask you a question here. Sometimes in our practice, we'll get involved in the what's it worth game, right? Like,
Sure.
We're always polling our friends and saying, this is this case, what's it worth? So in this case, Max, this lady gets in a car accident. She's rear-ended, right?
Yeah.
It's not her fault. And the story is not clear in terms of what the actual medical bills were. But you see a case like this. Assume you're on a jury, and
Okay.
a lady gets rear-ended. In terms just generally, what do you think that the person who got rear-ended should get?
Just the cost of the repairs, maybe
Yeah,
cost of whatever medical.
Yeah, I mean, you're on a jury, you don't know anything about it, and a lawyer's sitting there trying to argue what a person should get, the other lawyer's saying what they should not get.
Right.
Just going into the matter without any instruction, what do you think a person should get if they get into an accident that is not their fault?
The person that got hit.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Depends on how severe it is. Is there like a degree of it? Or do I have to pick like a round number that goes
Let me ask you. So do you think they
$1 million?
Do you think they should get their medical bills paid?
I mean, theoretically, but I mean, medical bills vary wildly, and I know that can be difficult to assess. Because I mean, if their medical bills, if they're uninsured medically, then they'll have a lot higher medical bills compared to someone who has insurance.
Okay. So insurance comes up in your thought process.
Sure.
Okay. How about lost earnings?
Is there lost earnings in this case?
Well, I'm just talking generally in a car accident. Yeah.
Not necessarily. I don't know. I'm not really concerned about that one.
Okay.
Because I mean, you've decided to go to court on this, so you're losing earnings by going to court like this because you're gonna have to have a day trial, obviously.
Well, let me ask you this: a slightly different question. So,
Fine.
So you were in a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
and as a result of the car accident, you have to get medical treatment that is recommended by various professionals, and so you follow that
Because I got
instruction.
two second opinions.
Okay.
I'm
So-
good about that.
Do you think you should get your medical bills paid because doctors have told you to treat?
Because it was a direct result of the accident?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as a result of the accident, let's say you work in labor that's physical, like, for example, in a warehouse type of a job where you have to lift
I
boxes.
hate it. It's so repetitive.
Right? And as a result, you are not able to work because your back is thrown out and you're out for 2 months.
That sucks.
Do you think that you should be able to get paid for the time that you could
Me
not work?
personally, I would like that. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. But somebody else, you don't think they should get paid for
I
it?
don't know. Are they working in a warehouse job they hate?
Well, how do you know they hate it?
I hated this one. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, look, I'm. Of course, everyone's going to want everything they want coming to them. So of course, everyone's going to want as much money as possible.
I'm just asking about
Yeah.
Max.
And I
some
first
drunk-
answered whatever anyone else, whatever.
Okay.
And me personally, yes. I do think everyone would agree with my own sentiments. If I have to be the person on the jury, that's completely different because I'm not them.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
that's
you
my
don't
workaround.
sympathize with them.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, listen.
There's two sides here. There's someone else who has to pay them.
I will
they don't
say-
want to pay money. You have
Yes.
to find the happy medium, which is apparently somewhere around $66.
Yeah. Or 6,800. Yeah, I think one of the things that Max raises, and I think it's very important to talk about, is something that's known as jury nullification, which Max has his own personal beliefs and a different set of rules that apply to him as opposed to anyone else. So sometimes you get juries who are really not that sympathetic to what somebody's happened. So that's why you need something called jury instructions, and something that says if somebody's missed work due to their injuries, they are required under the law to get paid back for that if there is fault on the person who hit them. So that's something that very often comes into play with people who have to actually go fight for clients and people who have had to miss work because of injuries, and it can be very stressful. And so when you have somebody on the jury who has no sympathy for you, it can be tough, and you have to get really technical with them and explain to them as an attorney why they should award those types of damages.
You never want Max on a jury.
No, I don't know if I would want Max or not. I mean, Max seems to be very open-minded. One of the things that we've done that's somewhat improper as an attorney is you're not allowed to use the golden rule argument, right? Like, what would you do for yourself if you were in this situation?
I've
And
tried to avoid that.
Yes, yes. And so lawyers are not allowed in court to say, well, what if you got in an accident to the jury? But, that's
It worked for Matthew McConaughey, but that was a different situation.
What was that? The Lincoln Lawyer? Is that the one you're talking about? Or
No,
was it-
not the Lincoln.
all right. Okay.
The other one.
The Lincoln commercial, when
Wait,
he
how
was
many-
driving in the commercial and he was like, sometimes you got to get back to your roots. That one? No?
Let's move on to a sexual harassment settlement.
Something lighter.
Now, according to the EEOC, Sima Orchids, a major U.S. orchid farm, paid $240,000 to resolve harassment and national origin discrimination charges. According to court filings, Hispanic women employed at Sima's greenhouse were constantly groped, sexually propositioned, and touched by male supervisors. Harassment also took the form of off-color and degrading jokes about how often Mexican women have sex and comments that Mexican women were lazy and did not know their place. The EEOC contended that the victims were threatened with physical harm, forced to clean restrooms, and time their restroom usage, which male employees were not required to do. Along with paying monetary damages, Sima also worked alongside an EEOC coordinator to train employees on internal anti-discrimination policies and civil rights and responsibilities.
Max probably thinks those ladies should get 0.
This is not an auto accident.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about this. $240,000, not a small settlement, not a. I don't know how many women were involved, but
Yeah, it didn't
it's
say.
still multiple. And well, I mean, we have several ladies at our office who are Hispanic, and I can tell you they are not lazy. Quite the opposite. And here, who is this company and these management and supervisors to say who is lazy and did not know their place? And unfortunately, people have to face that on a daily basis. I mean, we're a huge country. We have people with a lot of different outlooks on life and policies in charge. And so, Max, my mock juror.
Sorry, I also got a text message while you said
Oh, is it? Okay.
It was vibrating.
Yes. So somebody is told you can't go to the bathroom until I tell you to. Somebody is told that they're lazy, and it's on a daily basis. You
I
think
used to tell that to my students.
did you? Yeah.
Well, they are lazy, and they really can't be outside the classroom too long.
Okay. What are their names, and can I sign them up? That's what I want to know. So anyway, I mean, this type of
On
case.
topic.
Yeah, no, this type of case, a sexual harassment case, Sometimes it can be a little more difficult in sexual harassment cases to quantify damages. For example, in a car accident, you have your medical bills, you have your lost earnings. Those are hard numbers. Sometimes when you get a harassment case, you have to quantify a damage number which isn't reflected in lost earnings or money out of their pocket. So how does that affect somebody? And that's a very general type of a damage. Sometimes lawyers will get what's known as mock juries to come in and get 12 people from different demographics to come in and view the evidence and see what their assessment is. And many times lawyers or other professionals, sometimes insurance people, will rely on those assessments. So here, $240K, I mean, it seems like a pretty reasonable settlement. Employment cases drive me crazy because I cannot believe that some of the employees that we represent were treated the way that they were treated, and I really get pumped up when we can go ahead and defend somebody or prosecute a case because you're really turning the tables. So the only problem is sometimes in employment cases you have caps. So even against a big company, you can have rampant discrimination and then have a max of $300,000 in non-economic damages that you can get against an employer. It just doesn't seem right depending on the situation, but that's what we get from our Congress and from the people that make the laws in this country. So.
Now, we have a medical malpractice case. In August of 2014, a female plaintiff alleged that the defendants fell below the standard of care when they failed to diagnose and treat her appendicitis. One of the defendants, Spring Valley Hospital, settled before trial for an undisclosed amount. Another defendant, female emergency medicine specialist, denied falling below the standard of care. The jury found the defendant, Karina, guilty and negligent in her care and treatment of the plaintiff, and the plaintiff was awarded $10,000 compensatory damages for the past medical expenses. The jury also found defendant Thompson was negligent in her care and treatment of plaintiff and was awarded another $10,000.
10 grand.
For appendicitis.
Yeah.
Now, there's caps for medical malpractice cases too, I believe, and very strict statute of limitations.
Yeah, what happened is about a few years ago, the insurance community came together and were able to mount a very successful voting initiative, which the voters of Nevada approved and put in these medical malpractice caps. So the maximum that you can recover in a medical malpractice case is $350,000 for what's known as non-economic damages, meaning damages, again, that are not in a medical bill or lost earnings or lost property damage, more so just pain and suffering. So, for example, a doctor commits malpractice and as a result your child is killed, tough, you get $350,000. And while insurance companies and other people might be fond of that, I think that really does a disservice to citizens of Nevada who have really no other remedy to go to except a capped damage award. So it shows you the outlook on the people that make the laws on this case. We have a lot of laws coming up. There have been there's been a Republican red wave across the country and in Nevada, and of course nothing against Republicans out there. We have Republican and Democrat friends, but sometimes people see different thing on tort reform. So, for example, there's a bill now in front of the Nevada Assembly that is going to limit any damages for car accidents.
That's crazy.
And so somebody gets killed in a car accident and the legislature is going to tell you, sorry, you can only get so much money. And I think if you were in the position of the person that lost their spouse or their child, I think you would feel differently than the position of the insurance company. So you have to watch these legislative activities. You have to get on your legislator and tell them vote yes or no. But that's what we have down the road here. We'll be talking about that on future episodes of Nevada Justice as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, a kind of case that's sometimes difficult to pursue is a slip and fall. A female plaintiff and Nevada visitor alleged that as she was returning to her room at the New York hotel, she slipped and fell on a liquid substance on the lobby floor of the hotel. Plaintiff also alleged defendant was negligent in its maintenance and failed to warn of the dangerous condition. Plaintiff alleged she sustained cervical, thoracic, and lumbar soft tissue injuries, plus injuries to the knee and ankle. Defendants argued that plaintiff's complaints were related to her pre-existent conditions. A 5-day trial resulted in favor of the defendant. Slipping, falling, and then not being able to be justified?
Well, let me ask you, Max.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing? Not a lawyer.
Nope.
Not a lawyer. Obviously,
Yeah.
tort reform proponent, advocate here
Yes,
for us.
I am well aware of all tort reforms.
Yes. Let me ask you. So, New York has a big puddle on the floor of its lobby. Somebody walks through it, slips, becomes paralyzed.
Okay.
On those facts alone, is New York responsible for all damages?
On those two sentences you just said?
Yes.
No.
And why do you say that?
Well, for one thing, water's transparent or invisible nearly. So, I mean, they would have to be aware of that in order to be found negligent of that. So you can't, it's hard really to prove that they're unaware of invisible water.
That's a
Right?
good point. Yeah, and Max brings a good point. In typical slip and fall cases, you need notice to the landowner. It's not strict liability. Just because somebody slipped and fell on somebody's property doesn't mean the property owner is responsible. You have to show notice to that property owner or to the operator there. So to tweak those facts a little bit, let's say
Yes.
a security guard dropped a bottle of water, and a security guard who was employed by the hotel, and then says, hey, I'm going to go find somebody to go clean this up, and just leaves the puddle unattended, and then somebody slips and falls, becomes paralyzed.
He should know better. He's a security officer. He needs to be there. He has a radio on him, right?
Right.
He would be able to call that in.
Yeah.
rather than leave to find somebody.
So notice to the landowner, again, very important. So, yeah, Max, if I had a quiz, I would say that you passed that question.
Good job, Matt.
Stellar. Nice work.
I told you I'm well aware of torts.
Yes. Torts. Especially dessert torts.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
A custard tort's my favorite.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about breach of contract. A male plaintiff and Nevada resident and the defendant's father alleged that his son, the defendant, breached the contract, breached the covenant of good faith and fair dealing, breached the constructive trust, and breached his fiduciary duty.
I'm breaching.
Yeah, I know. Plaintiff also alleged defendant was guilty of constructive fraud, slander of title, and unjust enrichment. Defendant denied liability, advancing the defense that the property had been a gift from his father. The defendant alleged he had provided ample, independent funds and labor as his equity in the property. Defendant also alleged plaintiff ignored the purchase of subsequent property, the gift, and defendant's equity, and slandered the title against defendant. A 3-day trial resulted in favor of the defendant. Can you imagine being sued by your own father?
I'm suing you. I am your father. Like that? Is
Just
what you're
like
talking
that.
about?
Exactly like that.
Okay. I don't know. Some people have really rough dads.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
some dads beat them up a little bit. Some dads
Brutal.
sue them. I don't know. You know. Well, breach of contract, unjust enrichment. It's all. What would Attorney Bernie say? That's my question. Attorney Bernie would say, sue. Sue that man.
At all costs, too. And that can mean a lot of things, right? Breach of contract. I mean, I feel like it's pretty vague.
There's a lot of numbers and words in a contract.
Yeah.
It is weird that this is something that they had to make a contract for.
Yeah.
So it's not, so something serious enough that they didn't trust each other on it. And
good point.
still got betrayed
Yeah.
or breached.
By his son.
Pass the gravy, Dad. Also, pass that contract.
Did you sign and initial it yet?
Rude.
I have to notarize
Rude,
it with
Dad.
the uncle.
Initial there as well.
Interesting family gatherings that would prove to be so.
Yeah? Well, I think it's time for a commercial.
Yeah, we're going to go to commercial. We'll be back with Nevada Justice. Here in the Las Vegas Valley, Parker Shear Lagomarsino is dedicated to giving each of our law firm's clients the individual attention they each deserve. Parker Shear Lagomarsino handles a wide variety of cases for individuals and businesses. The firm prides itself on providing ethical representation and strong advocacy in and out of court. Our team of experienced lawyers and paralegals work hard daily to ensure the firm's clients get the best possible results. Clients can reach the firm at 702-383-2864, 702-383-2864, or at radio@parkershear, PARKERSCHEER.com. Welcome back, everyone, to Nevada Justice.
Oh, yeah.
More money, more problems, right, Max?
Oh, you know it.
Bring it home, Maxie. Bring it home.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
No one can see this but you guys.
Twerking at KLAV. Twerking.
Wow, Max just did a backflip. Okay. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about what factors determine the worth of a case. There are many factors that contribute to the worth of a case and many things to consider when making an initial demand amount. Before you start seeing millions of dollar signs, here are a few things you should consider. First, let's talk about evidence. Evidence comes in many different forms and can drastically improve your chances of not only settlement, but can raise your asking price. Video is a good example of this. Let's say with the slip and fall. A video can prove that the fall occurred due to negligence on part of the facility rather than an accidental fall. In a slip and fall, your biggest battle is proving that it wasn't just due to a client's clumsiness. Imagine if you had footage of your client slipping on something left on the floor by facility staff. Trey, can you talk a little bit?
Sure. I mean, obviously, video surveillance is very, very powerful evidence most times. I'll tell you one case where it's not valuable evidence, which is the Garner case in New York, which I want to get into shortly. But in a slip and fall case, for example, you talk about where's the notice to the landowner. So if you have a slip and fall case and you see somebody dropping a drink and then 25 minutes goes by and no person has cleaned up the drink and there's been several employees who walk past it, there's your evidence. That's going to be powerful. Unfortunately, when you're prosecuting a case, many times you will send a letter to the landowner saying, preserve the evidence, turn over the video, and they will say no. So you have to evaluate the case and assume that if they've been able to preserve the evidence, they will have done so. And video can also be not powerful.
Yeah.
Did anybody see that video in New York where the person got choked to death?
I've been avoiding it.
Yeah. That's a terrible, terrible case. There was a gentleman, last name Garner, who was standing there. This is all on video, and this is videoed through the police's body cameras, I believe. Maybe it was somebody who was videoing with a phone. I'm not sure. But these police officers approached this guy who had been known to sell cigarettes, who were not being taxed properly. He wasn't a violent criminal by any means. And they were going to arrest him or question him. And again, all on video, two or three officers approached him. Somebody came up from behind, put him in a chokehold, and took him down and choked him to death. And in between the time they put their arms around him and choked him to death, he said he couldn't breathe. He said it several times. And then when they finally let him go after choking him out, he died a short time later. They didn't really call appropriate medical care in the appropriate amount of time, and he died. So what's going on as we speak today is there are protests going on nationwide because of this police brutality and misconduct. So, hey, was there video? Yeah. This was sent to what's known as a grand jury to see if the officer would be charged. And the grand jury decided, I believe it was in Staten Island, New York, to not go ahead and convict that person, which has triggered these protests. So, yeah, video is helpful, but sometimes juries just don't give a smack.
A hoot.
A hoot. There you go. Along the same lines as video are photos. For example, a car accident. If you have pictures of severe property damage to your vehicle, it'll give the adjuster a better idea of how much impact and probability of injury that had occurred. Without pictures, the adjuster might think that you had minor soft tissue damage. Like they say, a good picture speaks 1,000 words.
Yeah, or a good picture is worth $1,000. It depends.
Yeah,
on,
exactly.
It depends on what the picture shows, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But many times in car accidents, you have insurance companies who, by the way, will spend millions in advertising trying to tell you that they'll be fair with you, and then millions in the back end to really devalue your claim and not pay you. But they'll look at photos. And if you have a car accident where there is no damage, then they tend to be obviously more scrupulous in what they will pay. Now, I will tell you from doctor testimony in several trials that we've had, somebody could get a slip disc or a bulge disc literally by stepping off the curb wrong and not expecting it. And that is scientifically verified. So somebody could give you a slight bump in your car, and while in most cases it may not cause injuries, to some people, if they're looking the wrong way, it could cause them to have a bulging disc or require surgery. So, property damage and photos can be very persuasive. I will tell you, even when we have major damage to photographs, depending on the insurance adjuster or the insurance company you get, they're still going to try to really devalue that claim and not pay claimants very much. So the more you have, the better, obviously, but sometimes it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Another helpful factor is if you have a witness. Again, with a car accident, if both drivers are blaming one another for the crash, then proving liability could be an issue later on down the road. But if a police report contains a written witness statement who claims that you were not at fault, it could prove as good as gold.
Yep. Witnesses are very important. When you're making a case, if you go to the court and you have no evidence behind you and you have nothing to back you up, then you better try to settle that case, because it can be tough to prove your case. Where you have independent witnesses, I'll tell you, a lot of times in sexual harassment cases, the other witnesses who are independent are definitely more powerful. I mean, I think if you look at another very sad situation, the Bill Cosby case, I think what's been so powerful as we sit here is the amount of people that are coming out and just really hammering away on what allegedly occurred 30 years ago. And it's been enough to where Bill Cosby has had shows now that are put on hold, comedy shows that are canceled or postponed. Witnesses are extremely powerful. Other people that have gone through the same thing, even more powerful.
Now, another aspect that can affect the worth of your case are damages. The worth of your case depends on your damages. Dre, can you talk a little bit about the different kinds of damages?
Well, there was a show called Damages with Glenn Close that was amazing. Did you guys ever see that show?
No.
Oh,
I saw part of the first season where Ted Danson was the
villain.
Defendant.
Yeah. What a great show that was. Shame on you guys for not watching it.
Sorry.
I think we
I
might
love
have to
Ted
have a
Danson.
video watching over at Parkashire.
Yay, movie day.
Yeah. Damages. What are you entitled to recover as a result of somebody wronging you? So medical damages, your medical bills. Punitive damages that are meant to punish the defendant for intentional, willful, or wanton conduct. Punitive damages are handled differently in every state. States like Nevada, I think, we're a little more moderate. You can get up to 3 times your actual damages in a case for intentional, reckless, willful, wanton, malicious conduct. So other states, you cannot get that. Other states, punitive damages can be awarded, but they go to the state, not to the person who is sued. So every state is different. Last one you mentioned, non-economic. Again, pain and suffering. Somebody does something to you, you get a brain injury. Yes, your brain injury medical bills are $25,000, but you're unable to recall, your short-term memory, anything like that. So that's going to be worth quite a bit more. Well, I can see that we have a very few short time left here, so I'd like to ask Mac some questions and see if he can answer them. Max, what is the first court a criminal case will be brought to? A, county court, B, crown court, C, justice court.
Well, I've never heard of Crown Court, and I think that might be British. I'm going to go with County Court.
Survey says correct. Crown court, obviously, some people go there if they want to crown and diet, and that's what they put it together. But no, yeah.
Who asked for
no, okay. Next question.
It was justice court.
It was justice court, correct.
Okay.
In a civil action, what term is given about the defendant if the claimant wins their case? A, guilty, B, liable, C, not liable.
Well, there's not... Guilty's there by itself. There's no not guilty there, so I'll have to go with the other two. I'll say determine claimant wins the case. Not liable.
B, liable.
Oh,
Sorry.
defendant wins.
Yes. Max, you have a show promoting tonight, don't you?
Tell
do.
us about
Let's
it. It's
hear it.
opening night tonight
Yes.
for Max.
Yeah, I'm opening a Dick Johnson Christmas Carol. It is what it sounds like. It is a live-action 40s detective show based on the plot of A Christmas Carol. Dick Johnson, the town's best detective, not the world, the town. The town's best detective has to face the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, and maybe learn a lesson.
Nice. And that's playing at...
Oh, yeah. It's going to be playing at the Onyx Theater. We open tonight. We're going to run through next Sunday. We have a Thursday show next week, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays are at 8, and Sundays are at 2.
And PSL will be there in support next weekend, so we're very excited about that. Go check out Max's play. Give him a cheer.
Woo!
Denise Valdivia, thank you very much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
We had to twist your arm to get out of the office on a Friday, but thank you for being
sweating.
here.
There's organizing that's not being done.
I know.
I know.
My desk is so messy.
That calendar, what will we do?
There's a container at the Container Store that's waiting for you to call it, but we don't know. But obviously, Kay Levy, Rebecca Reyes, Max Lardent, Brian, as always, our master documentary producer, is here with us today. Thank you.
And Andre.
And Andre Lagomarsino, again in the third person. A lawyer. I am a lawyer.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to Nevada Justice. If you want to get in contact with our firm off the air, you can reach us at 702-383-2864. Parker Shear, Lagomarsino.
And that's our show.
Way out in the land of the setting sun, where the wind blows wild and free, there's a lovely spot, just the only one that means home sweet home to me. If you follow the old Kit Carson Trail until desert meets the hills, oh, you certainly will agree with me. It's a place of 1,000 thrills. Home means Nevada, home means the hills, home means the sage and the pine.